folk. Red Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions.
Papelbon sets. At the belt. The pitch. Swing and a miss. It's over. The Red Sox have swept the Colorado Rockies. The Red Sox are the world champions of baseball for 2007.
It hasn't happened at Fenway Park for 95 years. The Red Sox are world champions.
Sale winds. He fires. Swing and a miss. Strike three. It's over. The Red Sox have won the world championship. The Boston Red Sox beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-1. They win the World Series 4-1. And the Red Sox become the first team in the 21st century with 4 world championships. Can you believe it?
Welcome back to episode 5 of the Fenway Faithful Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Cobb, joined by Michael Willard and Stephen Griffin, as always, at least when Stevie wants to show up. We've all been around the world and back again over the past week or so. So, gentlemen, what's the last couple of weeks looked like for you guys?
It's been a big 2 weeks for me. This past Saturday, I officially graduated from University of New Hampshire, ending my tenure. Hold your applause, please. I now join Jonathan Cobb, Michael Willard, and hundreds of thousands of other people as UNH alumni now. So congratulations to the whole class of 2026. A lot of time, effort, blood, and tears went into this moment. So to all you alums out there and recent graduates, congratulations.
You're one of hundreds of thousands. Congratulations, Stevie.
Yes, I am.
My girlfriend just graduated from the same university, so proud of her, and then just had to move her into Martha's Vineyard for her job. So very busy past week.
I'm glad she's putting you to work, Mike.
Yeah. A lot of work.
I've been flying around the country a little bit. I've been to Missouri. I've been driving up to Vermont, and I got another Vermont trip, and flying out to Michigan again coming up. Not for anything fun, going out for work. You guys will understand someday when you're grown men like me that sometimes you have to work and sometimes you're called upon to do these selfless acts of giving up your Memorial Day to go travel for your company. But anyways, I had some great barbecue while I was down in Missouri, as you can probably assume. I spent my whole week down there eating.
Some things never change.
Well, you ran the marathon last episode, so you had to make up for it by eating a bunch of food.
That's a great call. That's a great call. So unfortunately, that means that I need to run another marathon by the time we record next, which is about as daunting a task as Greg Weissert getting out of an inning clean. But as we saw today, that actually is possible. So anything can happen in this crazy world. So given that us three have kind of been running around the last couple of weeks, today's episode is going to look a little bit different. Regardless, we are going to start off with a recap of the last 2 weeks. So we're going to jump right into it. Sox have played the Tampa Bay Rays, Philadelphia Phillies, Atlanta Braves, and we're currently finishing up a 3-game series against the Kansas City Royals. We dropped 2 out of 3 in Tampa, Philly, and Atlanta, averaging a very measly 2.0 runs per game. However, we have won the first 2 games against the Kansas City Royals, and we are currently leading Game 3. Mike, you want to give us an update there?
Current commercial break, but it's 4-3. I think it's going to the bottom of the 8th.
All right. So everybody cross your fingers, but if we do hold on, then we will be 6-6 since our last recording. So like Mike was saying before the show, we always end up back at 500 somehow. So 6-6 only feels right. But we're going to go through some of the major storylines that we've seen over the past couple of weeks since you guys have been with us. First and foremost, Peyton Tolley is going from a cute story to an absolute ace in this league. The last time out, he went 8 innings against one of the best lineups in baseball, the Atlanta Braves. That's 8 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. On the season as a whole, he's got 5 starts. He's got 30 2/3 innings pitched to a 2.05 ERA. And the most impressive stat of his is in those 30 innings, he has 17 hits allowed. That sounds like an average Brian Bayo start. But that calculates out to 5.0 hits per 9 innings. That's the pace that Peyton Tolley is on right now. For context, the major league leader last year was Yoshinobu Yamamoto at 5.9 hits per 9. So Peyton Tolley has been pitching to an elite clip so far this year, and the last 2 weeks have shown it especially.
Yeah, and my storyline here is about Brian Bayo, and once Garrett Crochet comes back in this rotation, I think Tolley needs to stay as well, and Bayo should be the one that leaves this rotation. He's struggling. He's one of the worst starters in the league right now. As a starter, he has a 9.68 ERA. The Red Sox are 1-6 in his starts, and he averages around 4.4 innings per start. We've experimented using him as an opener, which I think is sad. He's 27 years old. He was supposed to be the future of this rotation, and we are experimenting with him as an opener, and it's even more disappointing after the good season he had last year. He's supposed to be building up on that. With the opener, he had 2 starts as an opener. He's a 1.35 ERA and averages around 2 more innings per outing when he has an opener. Yeah, the opener hasn't been great. They used Moran both times, but you get a good outing out of Brian Bayo. And yeah.
Mike, how many innings does Brian Bayo average as a starter?
4.4.
What is 4.4 innings?
Oh, I meant, oh my God. So around 5 innings. That's on me. It was like 4.38 when I saw it. So I'm like, oh, I'll just round up to 4.4, and then yeah, I guess that does not make any sense at all.
Well,
because it said 4.38. So
it's been 4.4 innings of hell, even if that number of innings doesn't exist.
Yeah.
To go off of worst in the league, or one of worst in the league. Not only do we have one of the worst starting pitchers in the league, we also have one of the worst shortstops in the league. Surprise, surprise. Trevor Story, at the time of filming, he was recently moved to the injured list with sports hernia, a soft tissue injury in the groin and abdomen area, according to Chad Tracy. So this has been an issue and an injury ever since spring training. And most feel that this is not going to be a quick return from injury, and most likely, if it was, this probably would have been fixed by now. So Story has been a huge disappointment this year, just like probably virtually every start to a season that he's played here in Boston thus far. What's interesting this time around is now Marcelo Myers here, and however long Story stays here, whether this is his last year, whether he finishes out his contract, Meyer looks like at some point he's going to be the starting shortstop for the Boston Red Sox. And a lot of fans have been calling that his time is now, and maybe with the Story injury, his time is really right now to get that spot and never give it back to Trevor Story. Thus far, we've seen Andrew Monasterio and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at shortstop. Those guys are not part of the long-term future here. So I really hope we see Meyer soon.
Everybody on Earth knows that shortstop is Marcelo Meyer's position.
Yes.
We're a week into Story's injury stint, and we still haven't seen Meyer get a shot at playing shortstop. Why is that? Why do we shoot ourselves in the foot? Because it's not about a wins and losses thing, because Marcelo Meyer is clearly the best defensive infielder on this roster. So it's not about winning games for right now. It's about something deeper, because that's the only reason that I can find to run Andrew Monasterio and IKF out there at short over your prize top prospect that is smooth as butter in the infield.
Right. And his whole time coming up through the minors, even in high school, he's been a shortstop. I mean, this whole thing, moving him to second, moving him to third, yeah, most shortstops can probably do that. But he didn't come up this way. He came up as a shortstop and, at least to the media, was seen as the shortstop of the future. So this is all a new thing. So get him to shortstop soon.
Agreed.
It's not like he's going to struggle there. He's played third base perfectly. He's played second base very well. Mm-hmm. And I think he'd be perfectly fine playing shortstop, especially because he's played it throughout all the minor leagues and all that. I really just want them to make the move. I'm sick of seeing IKF and Monasterio, and I don't think Story's coming back anytime soon. So if this is going to be a long-term injury, then put your hopefully future long-term shortstop at the position. Just make the move. And Chad Tracy was his manager in Worcester, seeing him play shortstop every day. So I don't get why he's not, unless it's Breslow that's like, no, we want him at second base. Don't play him at shortstop. And Chad Tracy's like, oh, it's okay. I'll listen to you, Mr. Breslow. I'm sorry. That's the only way I see why that move hasn't happened yet. But
put it past him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another storyline, it's been the pitching, but not just the starting pitching, it's been the bullpen pitching as well. In May, the bullpen has the second best ERA in the major leagues. Just to name off a couple of these ERAs. We're going to minus Greg Weissert, minus Ryan Watson because they've been bad. But Giovanni Moran in 25 and a third innings with a 2.84 ERA. Chapman in 16 and 2/3 innings with a .54 ERA.
Whoa.
Tyler Samaniego, who was involved in the Oviedo trade, he wasn't even the main part. 16 and a third. He's allowed 2 earned runs, and that was off 1 homer. So before that, he had a 0 ERA. He's now at a 1.1 ERA. Jack Anderson in 8 innings has a 3.38 ERA. Justin Slayton, 8 innings, 0 ERA. We've even seen guys like Uberstein come up, pitch a couple innings, 3 ERA. Eduardo Rivera, 3 innings, 0 ERA. We've just seen so many people in this bullpen. Even Zach Kelly, 16 and a third with a 3.31 ERA. So it's like we're actually getting... Oh, and I can't forget Whitlock, sorry. Whitlock, 19 and a third, 2.79 ERA. So... we've been getting pitching up across the board. It hasn't been the pitcher's fault for our struggles. They said all offseason they're building this team with pitching and defense. The pitching has showed up. We just need the offense to show up.
Zach Kelly scares the living daylights out of me every time he comes into a game. I mean, the guy throws wiffle balls, but he has no idea where it's going. He's truly one of the most terrifying relievers that we have. And one of those names on that list, Giovanni Moran, has kind of been his season stats have been hurt by being Brian Bayo's babysitter, but he has been very good out of the bullpen, and his season stats aren't going to reflect that as well as they should. I've had full confidence when Moran is being called out from the bullpen.
I do just want to give Samaniego a little more flowers, too. 13 strikeouts as well. He's been pitching phenomenally. 1.16 whip. Like, he was just a throw-in, it seemed like, in that Oviedo deal. And we needed lefties out of the bullpen. Or no, he's not a lefty, is he?
No, he is.
He is a lefty. So, yeah, we needed another lefty out of the bullpen because we were just relying on Moran, and he's delivered, and he's been fantastic. I just hope they don't run him into the ground like we did with Bernardino last year.
Yeah, and honestly, I give him flowers. I give a lot of these bullpen guys flowers. And honestly, maybe for the first time this season, I'll give Breslau some flowers. Because
watch it.
I know, but hear me out. Outside of Whitlock and Chapman, obviously the two of them have a strong track record. A lot of the guys you just listed really came out of nowhere. Like, Samaniego was kind of just a throw-in guy. Like, some of these guys were just, like, low-level free agent signings. I mean, Moran last year had, like, I think over a 5 ERA. So, like, it's not like they went out and spent $100 million to, amp up their bullpen. So I will give some credit to Breslow, Bailey, whoever else is involved. Because a lot of these guys, we really didn't know who they were, what they could do coming into the season. I was a little nervous about the bullpen coming into the season, but they're making it work, and they're making it work without guys that have proven track records. So I will give some credit when credit is due.
Is it sustainable, though? Because a lot of these guys, have they pitched full major league seasons, or some of these guys we've never heard of? And is it sustainable for the whole season? Like, I still want them to go out and get some arms at the deadline. We'll talk about the deadline later in the show. But, I'd like – because like you said, Zach Kelly, terrifying when he's on the mound. Greg Weissert, kind of terrifying as well. Ryan Watson isn't good, so I do want them.
Watson's an innings eater. He is what he is.
He does have one of the most. He has the most innings out of any bullpen pitcher. So he just
you need a guy
innings.
if you're down 8 runs with 3 innings to go just to eat that.
Is every Brian Bayo start from here on out going to go like Giovanni Moran, Brian Bayo, and then Watson cleanup crew? Like, you always see that happening now. Like, that's Watson and Bayo are going to be best friends.
Yeah.
On the bright side, there has been one name, and unfortunately, Craig Breslow is going to get a little bit more credit here as well. Wilson Contreras has been an absolute dog. All three of us, especially myself, I think I've probably been the loudest one here. Wilson Contreras an apology. No matter how much of a dink you act like, if you keep smashing go-ahead 2-run home runs, you can get away with just about anything you want, and that's exactly what Wilson Contreras has done. Just last week, we saw 2-run home runs in the Atlanta series and the Kansas City series, both of which to win the ball game. His one swing in both of those games changed the outcome, just in a week's span. Wilson Contreras has been that consistent bat, and he's been that power bat too. He's on pace for 35 home runs right now. His prior career high was 24. It's crazy this year when the offense is so weak that there's one guy that's such an outlier and has made such a great impact. And it feels like it's been so long since we've had that guy outside of Devers. So I had to look. When was the last time we had a guy that hit 35-plus home runs? And it's been since 2021. It's been 5 years since we had a guy hit 35 or more home runs, and that was Devers in 21 when he hit 38. So if Contreras keeps this up, it's going to look like one of the best right-handed hitting acquisitions we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I agree. And, we all ripped on him for, I think, pretty deserved reasons in previous episodes. But yeah, this guy, even dating back to the offseason, this guy, proven veteran, he has a swing built for Fenway. And, put aside some comments and some things he's done, he is built for a big market. He's built for the stadium. And he's really showing what it takes to be here. And, if this season gets better, he's going to be a big part of that because you need a veteran bat, especially with younger guys. And, again, despite the issues, he is showing why we need a guy like that. So I will absolutely give him his flowers where his flowers are due.
And we say he has a good swing for Fenway, but he's also going on the road with these home runs and mashing in Atlanta and Kansas City. And when we said the stat, only 2 runs a game, like these home runs mean so much to this team.
Absolutely.
Especially when we score 3, we win ball games. So
that can change the game. 1-2 home run can.
Yeah, exactly. Pitching and defense. So then when we do get offense, it means a lot more.
Absolutely.
His defense at first base has been one of the best signs as well. And you forget about it because we've been rolling guys out at first base that are completely inept at the position for so long that you forget what it looks like when a guy actually knows how to play the field. Now, with the whole Wilson Contreras thing, obviously to a much lesser degree, it kind of reminds me of watching The Last Dance and seeing what the 90s Bulls had to deal with Rodman, where it's like the guy is so darn good, but he's such a knucklehead and just a nutcase, and he's completely uncontrollable. It's kind of like, what are we willing to put up with Wilson Contreras? And it's a whole different discussion if it's going to be a lost season as well. I mean, I don't think we're going to be picking up Rodman or picking up Contreras at the encore at 4 a.m. Like they were doing with Rodman. But, I mean, he's definitely going to be pushing some lines that only a guy that hits 35 home runs can get away with.
It's a great comparison. See, we're not always negative about people on this show. It's been a lot of negativity recently, but we could give flowers when flowers are due.
Absolutely.
I hope Craig was listening up to this point. And if you are, thank you for listening, Craig Breslow, but you should probably cut out at this point on, all right?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Or listen to anything else we publish regarding you. Like, you listen to your 10 minutes now, like, time to hit the road.
Our next segment, we're going to be going over the question, what is the plan? Big question. We've been very negative recently. We all know what the problem on this team is. We've been talking about it for weeks. So now we want to talk about what we do next. So, what do you guys think the plan should be moving forward with the squad?
Yeah, so when you're 2 games out of a wild card spot, you can't have a fire sale. So even if you think this is a lost season, they're not going to make a playoff run, they're not a World Series caliber team, when you're only 2 games out, you can't have a complete fire sale. And I promise I'm going to be a voice of optimism, but there are some guys on this team where the value may not ever be higher. Most notably, Sonny Gray or Roldis Chapman, even a name like Garrett Whitlock could be out there. Especially Sonny Gray, teams always overpay for starting pitching at the deadline. However, if you unload these guys, you're essentially saying, we're punting on this season, we have no hope for the playoffs, and we're on to 2027 and beyond. As I opened with, that's not happening when you're 2 games out of a wild card. So, question then becomes, how much are they willing to buy? We know what this team needs. It needs more help on the offense, definitely 1, maybe even 2 new bats, and as we open with, some help in the bullpen always goes a long way. So,
Stevie,
yeah.
that was a very corporate answer to be able to play both sides of the coin there, playing devil's advocate along with it too. So if we offload Chapman and Sonny Gray, let's call it, and let's say we get a pretty decent return back, are you going to be disappointed? Or are you going to get on this podcast and go, well, technically it was the correct decision based on value?
Again, right now we're 2 games out of a wild card. No team can have a complete fire sale there. You know, the next month or so is probably going to dictate, but you don't do that.
It's May. Everybody's in the wild card.
I mean, some teams right now are 8 to 10 games out. If we were 8 to 10
in the National
games
League,
out,
yes.
In the National League, yes.
Not the American League. So the Red Sox play in the American League, so that's all we need to worry about.
Right, but if there is a fire sale, you can get some serious return. But we are only 2 games out of a wild card. You do not have fire sales when you are 2 games out of a wild card.
See, I just disagree with pulling the wild card as a reason to buy or sell, especially this early in the season where everybody is going to be close. The wild card games back is going to fluctuate immensely throughout the season. There's going to be weeks where 3 games back, and then we're going to move to 7 games back. So if we can't be buyers during one episode and then 2 weeks later be sellers because of how the last 2 weeks went. So looking at the standings and evaluating your team from there, I think is the wrong way to go about it. The way that I view this season and what the plan should be, first off, a couple of episodes ago, we doubted the pitching. We may have overreacted. Sonny Gray looks like the absolute veteran stud starting pitcher that we need. Ranger Suarez is finding the strike zone, finding the corners, and has been incredibly effective. With that said, I mean, this pitching should be very good. We have invested real dollars into it, so this is how we wanted to build the team. The problem is obviously very clear. It's the offense. The offense absolutely stinks. It's frankly one of the worst offenses I've ever seen. It reminds me of the 2020 Cam Newton New England Patriots. That is the closest comparison that I can have for how inept this offense is. That was an embarrassing team. Now, what I think will happen is the Red Sox are going to mess it up. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if they're going to buy, if they're going to sell. All I know is whatever Craig Breslow does is not going to work because, frankly, so much of what he has done so far in regards to the direction for the team has been unclear. Sure, he's had wins here and there. He's had signings and acquisitions that have panned out. He's had plenty that haven't panned out. But the issue that we all see with Breslow is that the vision that he has for this team is completely all over the place. It changes week to week. So when it comes to the deadline, I don't think that all of a sudden in 8 weeks we're going to have a clear path for what this team's goals are. Now, what I want to happen, believe it or not, I want this team to add to the offense and make a decisive trade, trading real prospects, taking on real money. I know, believe it or not. I want the team to go out and win today. I don't want to hear any talk about selling high on guys and getting top-tier prospects and guys that are going to play good in 2032. You can take that and you can shove it. I want to win today. It's the only thing that we have. Selling is for losers. Selling is for losers. Those are the franchises that are perpetually losing. You need to continue to win. You need to continue to attack winning. That is how you keep your culture up. And when you teeter on your goals and what you want to do in any given season, I mean, I think you end up with seasons like this where you're devoid of leadership and you have no clear direction whatsoever.
I'm shocked you just said that because usually you're so negative and thought you would have come on here and be like, sell. We're bad. So
Selling is for losers. Selling is for losers. And sorry, Mike, I got one more point I wanted to mention. On the pitching staff, this pitching staff is going to be top of the league. And when I say top of the league, top 5, top 7, somewhere around there. This pitching staff is playoff worthy. I think I can confidently say that. So if you're not going to add to this team and you're going to waste a year where you are equipped with playoff level pitching, then you're pissing a good season down the toilet. These are the types of years that you need to capitalize on. Every team has flaws. And if you're able to clearly identify what those flaws are, and for the Red Sox, obviously, it's getting a bat. If you can address that and you can work on the strength of your team, which is going to be your pitching, those are the years that you go after. And not to make another Patriots comparison, but this past year we lost the Super Bowl. And I heard so many people say, oh, it's okay, we weren't even expected to be this far. And I hate that argument. And I hate that argument for one reason only. Sure, you could call us a Cinderella run, but I don't like that term because I thought we had a Super Bowl level defense. And that's not something that you see a lot. And so with this pitching staff, I'm not going to say they're number one in the league, but I think they have the potential to be. I think this is, like we said, a playoff-worthy pitching staff. So you need to attack that, you need to go after that, and you need to win this season. Do not kick the can down the curb. Do not sell. Do not give up on this team.
You were using your favorite term, deaf, in regards to the pitching staff.
We might have undersold the pitching depth. We really might have. If the bullpen is this deep and this good, like Mike said, and our rotation has this many guys, that I feel confident allowing 2 earned runs or less, because frankly that's kind of what is needed to win a game for the 2026 Boston Red Sox. But if our pitching staff wasn't performing the way that they are, I mean, we could be 20 games under 500 at this point. But because of guys like Sonny Gray, Ranger Suarez, and Peyton Tolley over the last few weeks, we're at the point that we're at. And Stevie's going to throw a parade for being 2 games back in the wild card.
Year after year, we kind of hear them say how they want to sell for the future, but also buy for the future, do a little hybrid of buy and sell. I think you could get a ton of value. You've seen Chapman get it traded in the past for some high-quality guys. Gleyber Torres, Cole Reagans. So he's gotten some big returns. Obviously, he's older now, so I don't know if it's going to be that high. But there's also Gray, Whitlock, IKF, all expiring deals. Make a decision in the outfield maybe by trading Duran. Bayo sucks, maybe trade him. Contreras, I wouldn't want to trade Contreras. We still have 2 more years on him. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd be the most mad in the world if I saw a mix of buy and sell, but I don't believe that's going to happen because Craig Breslow is on the hot seat. He's very clearly on the hot seat. So if you're on the hot seat, you don't sell. You will never sell. So I know he's going to try hard at the deadline to buy. He'll probably make a dumbass decision. He probably will because he's going to try to save his job, and he's probably going to make a dumb decision. But I want a bat, more specifically a controllable bat. I don't want just a rental for a year. I want them to go out and get a guy that has some control or a couple more years left on the contract so we could have him for a couple years. I really don't want to see any rentals for this team, especially because, like, we don't have any bats now, and it really doesn't feel like our offense is going to get much better in the future. We've seen Breslow be able to go out and trade for these pitchers that have done really well. Craig Breslow's a pitcher, so we've seen him do very well in that sense, but we've not seen him go out and get a bat that's actually effective. So I'd love to see him go out and get 1 to 2 bats, especially a controllable guy, so we can have for the next couple of years.
Mike, do you think Craig Breslow is a robot or a human that feels emotions?
Robot.
So when you say Craig Breslow's on the hot seat, that is, in my opinion, that would be indicative of a emotional move that would be made at the deadline. I thought that in 2022 when Chaim Bloom was on the hot seat, I thought the same thing. He had to do something. He had to make a move. He's on the hot seat. And you know what Chaim Bloom did? Is he sat on his hands and he did nothing. It was honestly one of the most cowardly things I've ever seen, that 2022 trading deadline. Absolutely pathetic. That team stunk, and we had no direction. We wouldn't buy. We wouldn't sell. JD Martinez was on expiring contract that year. He was the most obvious trade candidate in the history of trade deadline candidates ever in the history of the world. And we kept him for the whole season because Chaim Bloom was inept at his job. So when you say Craig Breslow's on the hot seat, I agree that he is on the hot seat. But I don't think that is going to translate to making moves. I think that he is a slave to his calculations and whatever his nerds upstairs are telling him.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, this whole hybrid buy and sell thing just makes zero sense at all to me. Yeah, the 2022 deadline, I was in pure confusion. It's like, okay, they're going to buy Tommy Pham, they're going to buy Eric Hosmer, and then Vasquez is out the door. It's like, what's going on? Like, pick a direction. And to go back to the hot seat, we'll have the real conversation in July, but if what's best for the team is to have a fire sale and we unleash guys like Gray, Duran, maybe Whitlock, Chapman, if that's the direction, which, we'll see. Hear me out. I hope not. I want this to be a playoff team. I want to win. But if that's the right direction, I don't feel a complete fire sale can happen. Not because the return would be incredible. If we unload all those guys, we'll get top prospects, like, in years down the line, it would work out. However,
boo this man. Boo this man.
Right, hold on. But if, again, he is on the hot seat one way or another, maybe not after this season, but after next season. If they throw on this year, Breslow has to win next year in order to keep his job. And yeah, it may be for the better to get like 6 top prospects that'll be ready in 3 years, but Breslow doesn't have that much time. He needs to win this year or next year in order to keep his job, to get him off the hot seat, and having a complete fire sale, even if it's for the betterment of the long-term success of this team, will never happen. So I just don't see it happening, even if we're 10, 15 games out of a wild card spot.
I just have a question for Cobb, because you were saying that JD Martinez was a very clear trade candidate. If we're in like the same spot as that team at the deadline, we're not good still, we're out of a playoff spot, it's not really looking better, are you still selling and not wanting to offload some of these expiring deals like Chapman and Gray, like the older guys at least?
Chapman has a mutual option, and Gray has another year. So I don't think there are any clear expiring deals for veterans that would get you much of anything at the deadline. I mean, see if anybody will give you, like their lunch money for Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
But I also, comparing Heim to Breslow, at least Breslow has gone out and made the move and got Crochet. You could at least give him that. And Contreras, that's more than what Heim did. What did Heim do? He traded Mookie and didn't really make a big splash on getting a guy besides signing Trevor Story, which has not worked out. So I think Breslow is a little bit better in that sense, and I think maybe he can go out and get the guy. He was so close to Joe Ryan last trade deadline, so close.
You know what will be? You know what I'm going to look for most is the time frame for when Craig Breslow decides to act. Because I think we can all agree that if Craig Breslow does nothing, then that is the worst option. Mm-hmm. So when does he decide to act? Like we just said, the problem is so utterly clear. So little do you have a problem this clear and a solution that you can easily address, and you have the ammunition to do it. You need to improve this offense. We all agree. That's not going to change today, tomorrow, or until July 31st at the trade deadline. So Craig Breslow, why wait? Do it now. I don't think he will, because he's a little weasel, and he's going to wait until July, and we're going to make the most calculated decision for our win probability, because he's a loser, because he's an absolute loser, and he wants to wait until the decision is right in front of his face. He's going to wait until 4/29 on the trade deadline, and then probably trade Aroldis Chapman for pennies on the dollar. I don't know. I'm just throwing stuff out there. But the time frame with which Breslow decides to act is what I'm going to be most interested to see.
We've seen him make a move earlier in the season. Devers was way before the trade deadline. I know it wasn't helping the team, but I'm just saying he's pulled the trigger on making decisions somewhat early before.
That's a good point.
Even though the trades didn't work out, the last 2 trade deadlines, they did technically buy. Obviously,
If we kept Kyle Harrison and Tibbs, we would have won that trade.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying, but at the deadline, technically they bought by getting Dustin May, even though that trade was a disaster. 2 years ago, they technically bought adding Lucas Sims and Luis Garcia.
Nope, stop there. That does not get credit for buying.
That's adding to your major league team.
The 2024 deadline, Lucas Sims and that other reliever, those were traded for guys that were going to be released off of the roster. They were going to be Rule 5 guys. You are literally trading them for milk that's going to expire tomorrow. Like, you don't get credit for that. Trading for Dustin May last year, a guy that sucked before you got him and sucked after you got him, you don't get credit for quote-unquote buying. So I disagree with that.
But they added to the major league team. I mean, we could all agree that, like, if Tibbs was...
Technically, they added.
Stevie, Mike, if they added me to the roster tomorrow, are you going to say, look, Craig Breslow added a bat? He's a 23-year-old out of the University of New Hampshire who hasn't played baseball in 2 years. We expect him to hit right around where Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is. Are you going to give him credit for adding?
No, but Like I'm not justifying it. I'm just saying they did technically add the past 2 years, and look how it panned out.
Did they add when they added Nick Sogard to the roster?
Well, that's not an external move. They brought him up through the system. That's not like calling someone up isn't a trade deadline.
When was our last eventful deadline where we actually bought big pieces? Was it I don't remember.
They got Schwarber, Robles. And
so it's going to be Schwarber. I was thinking that, or 2018 with Evaldi and Pierce. 2017, Eduardo Nunez. But
2020 they
it's been a while
for sale, but it was all guys on 1-year deal, and it was.
I don't know. But to end this segment on a positive note, the Red Sox swept the Kansas City Royals. Yeah.
Bum ba da bum 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 bum. Red Sox 6-6 in their last 12. We have gone back to the mothership. We have gone back to 500. Congratulations,
honey. It's time to go back to 500.
As you've heard, there are a lot of mixed feelings on how to approach a trade deadline, buying, selling, and everything in between. Since we're at, I'd say, ease right now and a little bit of high spirits, we're going to go in the direction that if this is a serious team and we want to add, how do we make this team better? So that comes with buying at the trade deadline. Shocker, right? So the trade deadline will be here before we know it, just in about 2.5 months. And if this team is a serious team to make the playoffs, where do we go from there? So to start, I'd say a more realistic way that I see the Boston Red Sox going is not making a crazy splash. I mean, we can all hope that they get a top candidate, depart with some high prospects. But realistically, one guy who I've been looking into recently is super utility player Willie Castro. He's currently with the Colorado Rockies on a 2-year deal, about $12.8 million. He was on the Twins last year before being dealt to the Cubs at the trade deadline. Really didn't do much with Chicago once he got dealt, but was hitting .245 with 10 homers in Minnesota up until the deadline. Again, he's super utility. Most of his reps this year have been at second and third positions of need, but has also filled in at first base, shortstop, and left field. So far, he's hitting .239 with 2 home runs, so nothing great, but honestly, that might be an upgrade based on where we are right now. So I'd say that's a more realistic way to go. In terms of maybe stepping up another notch would be Brooks Lee. He's a switch-hitting shortstop from Minnesota. He's hitting .248 this season with 5 home runs and 24 RBIs with a .988 fielding percentage. He was a first-round pick, the 8th overall pick by Minnesota in the 2023 draft. This would obviously be a little bit more expensive than a guy like Willie Castro. I assume the Twins see Brooks Lee as part of their long-term solution. But the Twins aren't that great this year. This may be a time for them to rebuild. So if they get a strong enough offer, I wouldn't put it past them. Now, my third take, which I do not see happening, even though there were some rumors about it, but I've been following this guy for a little bit. He plays for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know he's gotten some talk in the media for his behavior in the past couple weeks. That is catcher Dalton Rushing. Now, this guy has been a top prospect in baseball for a couple of years. I believe he was the #1 prospect for the Dodgers before coming up. If not, he was really high up. He's had a strong start to the season, hitting .260 with 7 home runs. Keep in mind, he's not like the #1 starting catcher. Will Smith is still there. He's sharing time. He's moving around. He's also got some reps at first base this year. But he's young. He's 25 years old. He was a second-round pick in 2022. This would be expensive, and trading with the Dodgers has not gone over well the past few years for the Red Sox. So I'm a little on edge about it. Also, the Dodgers are trying to three-peat. I mean, they're not really going to sell, but, you know, if Will Smith is their guy, I wouldn't put it past them to at least listen to offers on Dalton Rushing. So it would be a match made in heaven. I am a fan of him. I think he'd really be the catcher of the foreseeable future that we thought Kyle Teal was going to be. But, you know, it is unlikely, and I know that.
A couple questions. One, do you happen to know how much team control he has? Because that could make it even more expensive. And
Yeah,
two,
lots.
maybe do you think Duran, if we want to move on from Duran, because the Dodgers kind of need outfield, do we flip Duran to the Dodgers and get a Dalton Rushing? I would hate Duran going to the Dodgers, having Mookie, Duran in that outfield, but they need outfield. Could make sense if we're trying to move off Duran.
Jaron Duran is not enough for Dalton Rushing. Sorry to break it.
Well, obviously, no, it wouldn't. I didn't mean like 1-for-1. Like, he would be a part of the deal.
Yeah, he'd be the headline. I mean, I would definitely consider that. I mean, Dalton Rushing, I think, is on track to be one of the better catchers in the league. And I think it's still Will Smith's job out there in LA.
22-year-old, I think he's 22, 23, bat first catcher is going to demand a lot. So, I'm with you. I would love to see him. I would love a decisive trade like that. That's somebody that could be a franchise cornerstone, somebody that you kind of plug in the lineup every day and just forget about it. And we don't have enough of those guys. So I've got 3 trade candidates that would fix that. We're going to start off with my dark horse. This is a guy that there aren't trade rumors about, but one that there's some underlying things that could lead to a trade. And that's going to be with in-division rival, the Baltimore Orioles, and their catcher, Adley Rutschman. So this is a very common name around the league. He's a switch-hitting catcher, former number 1 overall pick. He's had a couple of down seasons in 24 and 25, but he seems to have found his stride again in 2026. He's got a .525 slugging percentage. Now, the issue with Rutschman, he's under contract for 2026 and 2027. He will be a free agent going into the 2028 season. He's playing for a franchise in Baltimore that does not have the resources to give out a 10-plus year contract at $30 million per. And just to add to it, Baltimore just had Samuel Basallo, a top prospect, come up who is also a catcher. He's a left-handed hitting masher. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see this kid. He's nasty. He is 21 years old right now, and he is playing great in the bigs. He's got a .474 slugging percentage through 38 games this year. His defense is a little bit shaky. He does have a plus arm, so there's a question of whether he can stay behind the dish. But if he can, if Samuel Basallo profiles as an everyday catcher in the big leagues, then Adley Rutschman is expendable. Because of Rutschman's price, because of his expiring contract, his price is not going to be astronomical. And again, he's playing for a franchise in Baltimore that can't just let assets like him leave in free agency for nothing. They need to replenish their system as opposed to letting guys like that go. Everything kind of makes sense here for a Rutschman trade, except for the fact that he plays for an in-division rival. So, he's my dark horse. He's somebody that I think would look great here in Boston. But I don't think it's super realistic, but I do think that there is a non-zero chance. Flipping sides, I've got a realistic option for us here. Mark Vientos, the right-handed hitting, power-hitting third baseman from the New York Mets. This is the kind of guy that is a high-floor, low-ceiling type of bat. He's got a lot of swing and miss to his game. He doesn't walk a whole lot. What he does do is he mashes. He absolutely crushes the ball. He is a true masher of the baseball, something that the Boston Red Sox lineup does not have. He would be a huge upgrade over there at third base. Small issue, he doesn't play third base anymore. He's been moved off of that in 2026. But honestly, I would take a butcher over at third base if that's truly what Vientos is, if he really stinks over there. I would take a butcher over there that can smash home runs over Caleb Durbin. That's a vacuum over there and is hitting about a $121. Vientos is in his age 26 season, and he's under contract through 2029. He is someone that I feel could be a good flip for Duran. Vientos has some flaws to his game, but he is still young and controllable, very similar to Duran's profile. I think that is a one-for-one trade that matches up very well. This is the type of move that I think Breslow would love to make because this is your middling move. This is a guy that improves your team today, but you also have control of for a couple more years. And Vientos provides the positional flexibility to be able to trade high with Contreras if that's the plan of action. Now my last guy is my pipe dream. This is one that I would love to do, but it's going to cost a whole lot. That's going to be Xavier Edwards, the switch-hitting second baseman from the Miami Marlins. Very similar to the Adley-Rutschman debate, he's playing for a franchise that is notoriously cheap. They don't want to pay their best players. They have the resources. Let's make that very clear. These major league teams have the resources to pay their players, but they choose not to. And Xavier Edwards is a prime example of that. He is in his age 26-27 season right now. He has 4 more years under team control. He is going to take a haul. Edwards' profile is one that the Red Sox could absolutely use. He is a high average, low strikeout type of bat. He has great speed on the base pass, and he's an above average fielder at second base. Getting a guy like Xavier Edwards would put a much needed stop to the circle of bums that have been starting at second base for the Boston Red Sox. Now, I decided to put myself through the pain of going through this list of second basemen that the Boston Red Sox have dealt with, and frankly, that we've all dealt with since our World Series title in 2018. So going on from there, 2019, Brock Holt. Again, this is our second baseman from each year based on most games played at the position. 2019, Brock Holt. He's a utility guy. He's not a starting second baseman. 2020. Can anybody guess the 2020 Red Sox second baseman? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's because it's Jose Peraza. Talk about a name you want to forget. 2021, Christian Arroyo. Certified bum, sorry. 2022, Trevor Story. Really the only notable name on the list. 2023, Christian Arroyo. Certified bum. You want to talk about some certified bums. Here we go. 2024. Emmanuel Valdez. Blech. 2025, Christian Campbell. All of this to show that is 7 years, not including this year, of a rotation of guys that are not everyday second basemen. And trading for a guy in Xavier Edwards, although the cost would be immense, would be a guy that you can plug into the lineup. Set it and forget it. You remember all those years we had Dustin Pedroia, and for a decade, we didn't have to question who our second baseman was going to be on opening day. That's a great feeling. And we don't have enough of those guys on this roster. This roster is too much plug-and-play guys that are here 1 year, gone the next. Trading for a guy that's going to be here and can make an impact and is going to play all 162 like Xavier Edwards would be great. Now, the cost is probably going to start with Arias and Early. That is probably what a package is going to be headlined by, and I am more than okay with it. Get it done. These are the kind of guys that you do it for.
I like those. I kind of went similar. He doesn't play second base right now, but I would like him to move over to second if we were to make the deal. This one's a little more unrealistic. Don't know if it's really possible, but Zach Neto of the Los Angeles Angels. I say unrealistic because he's 25 years old and still has 3 more years of arbitration left. So don't really know if they're going to move off of someone young like that, but the Angels are really bad. They're always selling. And earlier I said I wanted to get a controllable bat. This would be that. He's been above 5 WAR player the past 2 seasons. Solid power for the position. You don't really usually see a ton of power from the shortstop position, but he's given you 23 and 26 homers past 2 seasons. His fielding percentage is .974 at short, so I'd want to move him over to second base because I would way rather have Marcelo Meyer take the reins at shortstop, but I think he could be a solid second baseman for us. I think it would be really fun to get him. It'll take a package. It'll probably take Early or Tolley or even both, Duran, Arias, more prospects. It would take a lot to get a guy with 3 years of control. Yeah, Cobb?
Just one thing. We keep including Jarren Duran in these trade propositions. His value is dirt. His value's dirt. There's a reason that, the only name on my list, Mark Vientos, this is a guy that, has serious flaws to his game as well. So including Jarren Duran as some sort of addition to a deal for a guy, especially of Neto's prowess, I don't think that moves the needle for them at all.
It's fair. My next guy, a little more realistic and was heavily rumored to get traded here in the offseason. It never happened. Another Duran-involved trade is Isaac Paredes of the Houston Astros. He is 27 years old and has 1 more year of team control. I think his swing would go great at Fenway. He would have to play third base, which would make we'd either have to call down Durbin or have Durbin play second, make Meyer the shortstop. We'll figure it out with Story. But Houston needs outfield. We need infield. Would be nice to make the swap. He's not the greatest defensively either, but I think he could be serviceable over at third base and would give us a lot more pop than what we're getting right now out of Caleb Durbin. So it's been talked about so much, and I think it could make sense with that. Since Houston needs outfield, we need infield. This is one I really want to have happen, and I think it could be realistic, is second baseman of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Brandon Lau. He's 31 years old, expiring contract, and Pittsburgh, just like Miami, doesn't really tend to pay their guys, and usually sell at the deadline and sell these expiring contracts. He has a ton of experience at Fenway. He used to play for the Rays for years. He's batting .436 at Fenway, which is 24-55, so it's not even just a couple at bats, it's a lot. .549 on base, .855 slug, 6 homers at Fenway. That solves our power issues. We're looking for a power bat, and I think he could be that power bat. He has 12 homers this season, a .546 slug, 31 homers a year ago. He could play second base, move Meyer over to shorter third base. So it would solve kind of our issue of our not having a second baseman. I think that one can make sense. Now my pipe dream, which I definitely don't think will happen, but I really, really want it, is to get the next big poppy, Dominican poppy, Yordan Alvarez. That would be so awesome. He's 28 years old, 2 more years left on his contract at $26 million per. He kills the Red Sox every time he plays us, especially at Fenway, and he would never touch the outfield. I don't want him touching that field near the Green Monster. So it would potentially solve an outfield logjam. Teams of the past have been very successful when we have a true DH. 04, 07, 2013, we had Big Papi. 2018, we had JD Martinez. Give us a true DH. No more swapping between Anthony and Duran. No more putting in Yoshida. I want just a true DH that could be an absolute killer for us. That's my absolute pipe dream. But I know that'll never happen. And that package would be insane. I think it would be similar to a Juan Soto trade from Washington to San Diego. That trade had C.J. Abrams, Mackenzie Gore, James Wood, Robert Hassel, Luke Voigt, Yarlene Susana. That's an insane package. If you look at it now, all of those guys At least Abrams, Gore, Wood have been studs. So what would that look like here? It would definitely include both Early and Tolley, Arias, some other prospects like maybe a Justin Gonzalez, Witherspoon, Juan Valera, a Jansen. Just going to have to be a ton of prospects. And Houston's prospect farm system has not really been great since that big core won all those World Series. All of them came up, did good, but they haven't had a good farm system since then. And now they're finally, it seems like they're being bad. They were good for years. They're finally bad this year. So maybe trading away Yordan Alvarez and just completely changing this farm system for them and bringing in 6 to 8 guys like that would just be a complete reset for that organization.
I love that move. I think Zach Neto probably gets a similar package, and part of that is because of his team control and his positional value, playing every day a strong shortstop. Neto would be great, but my favorite one of yours is going to be Brandon Lowe. Does he go by Lowe or Lau?
I don't know. I think his was Lau. I have no clue.
I don't know, but one of the Lows or Laus really prefers the pronunciation of their last name to be correct. But until we actually get him, I don't really care. So Brandon Lau, because that's how it's spelt, Brandon Lau always killed the Red Sox. Man, would I love to watch him at Fenway Park. And it feels weird to have a power-hitting lefty second baseman. I don't know why. That's just like a weird type of player. But, man, that's part of what we need in the middle of this lineup is any power whatsoever. Brandon Lau, and see, now I'm going back and forth. Brandon Lowe, he feels like a great fit, especially if Pittsburgh is going to be a team that is going to fall out of it. I know they're hovering around 500. They've been competitive this year. And we know that they love to trade with the Boston Red Sox. Exactly. Maybe something where we trade an outfielder that has some term left on their deal could be a good move for that. Question on the package that would require Neto, that would be required to get Neto. Early, Wilyer, and Arias. In or out?
I'm out just because of Willier. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I could get rid of Willier, and he's him and Contreras are one of our only power guys. So I really don't want to get rid of more power, and he's a fantastic fielder in right field, which is a very tough right field to play in baseball. I think I'm out just because of Willier, and I know you say Duran has no value. Hopefully, as time goes, he builds that value back up, and I'd rather add Duran if we're getting rid of one of the outfielders. And I'm fine throwing in more prospects if that means Duran's value isn't as good, just to keep Willier, because I'd way rather keep Willier.
I agree. I mean, maybe in the offseason I could have a change of heart, but going back to what I said earlier about buying and selling, with this team, they need as much offense as they can get. So, getting one strong hitter and departing another strong hitter, I just don't really see how that's going to help this team in the middle of the season.
Everybody wants the big deadline name, but nobody wants to pay the big deadline price.
I'd rather just do the Dave Dombrowski and get rid of a ton of prospects.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I don't hate that either. Would you include Wilyer Abreu in a Yordan Alvarez trade?
Yes. I mean,
I think that one might do it.
Same package.
I mean, I love Yordan.
Early, Wilyer, and Arias.
Yeah,
for
I think that one's a little bit different. That one's a little but he's so good though. He's so good. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Yordan would be awesome, and he'd be like another Poppy. He'd be another Poppy.
Yeah, I mean, I would. If there's any way to get Alvarez, just do it.
Would you do Wilyer for either? Are you involving Wilyer in either of those, Neto and Alvarez?
For Alvarez, you'd have to. I mean, he's a generational bat.
I'm open to trading Wilyer. It's not a Wilyer thing, at least for the Neto package. I would make it Wilyer and Arias. I don't have a problem necessarily trading Wilyer, but his value is at an all-time high right now.
Absolutely.
Listen, a lot of these names, especially the pipe dreams that we were talking about, are going to require uncomfortable conversations with players that we don't want to part with. And Willie or Abreu is going to come up a lot at this trade deadline if we're serious about making a splash.
Yeah, I mean, Alvarez, it's going to cost. Abreu and more. I mean, Alvarez is in a whole nother tier. I mean, yeah, there's Ohtani, there's Judge, but I mean, Alvarez is right there.
There's a reason he's a pipe dream.
Yeah, I absolutely would.
There's a reason he's a pipe dream. I really don't see Breslow departing with that much to get a guy like that, especially if he's just going to DH. You saw him flip Devers because he was just a DH, but I don't know. Maybe you could throw Yordan in left. I mean, it's a small left field. Maybe he could be serviceable out there, but I just don't want him to injure himself like he did last year playing the outfield.
We're going to get Willie Castro, and you're going to like it.
Ugh.
I mean, as I said, 239 with 2 home runs, maybe an upgrade from what we have right now.
How do you guys feel about this? Has been talk on Boston Sports Radio. Another Angels player, Mike Trout for Bayo and Duran. What are your guys' opinions on that?
I would do that yesterday. I would drive Duran and Bayo to the airport.
How many years left? It would be crazy if they took both of those off our hands.
I was a big Mike Trout fanboy when I was a
I mean, how can you not love the idea of
How many
Trout
years
playing?
left does he have? Because he's at $45 million a year, right? Still,
Yeah, he has a lot of years and a lot of money.
runs through.
I would want to just DH him too, because he just keeps
Agreed.
getting injured playing the field, and he's not as good of a center fielder anymore. Just DH him.
They
fully.
have him playing center field this year.
I know, and I don't think he's been that good in center. So just move him to DH to avoid any more injury.
I mean, I'm not somebody that wants to, cover my players in bubble wrap by any sense. I do want Trout to be out in the field because if you're going to trade for Mike Trout, I don't want to treat him like Yordan Alvarez, like he can't play the field by any sense. So I want to trade. If I'm trading for Mike Trout, I'm trading for him as an outfielder, not as a DH. But I do understand the injury concern as well.
Because last year was like somewhat his first full season in a while. He has really been injured. If I look it up real quick.
The Mike Trout discussion is tough because it's about the money. And us as fans are never going to.
John
be
Henry
able
would
to,
never.
Yeah, us as fans are never going to be able to have like an honest conversation about assigning $45 million to one human being. Like that's just like those are numbers that we just can't even fathom.
So 2021, he only played 36 games. Went up to 119 in 22, but in 23, 82, 24, 29. Then last year, again, 130. But 3 seasons in there that he didn't play a full season. So he's been very injured.
I don't think you're going to find a single Sox fan that is going to disagree with wanting Mike Trout. But, oh my God, if we can get rid of Brian Bayo too, if we can get rid of Brian Bayo for anything, then I will do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Was that the proposed package that they were talking about? Was Duran and Bayo?
It's what,
On sports radio, Felger and Maz was talking about Bayo and Duran. I don't know if that's like actually happened. You never know what to believe on Boston sports radio, but that's what they were talking about was the package.
Wow. And concluding today's episode, as we always do, we are awarding someone or something that embodies being ass at everything that they do. We call it the Craig Breslow Award. I mean, the Jordan Hicks Award. Thank you, Mike. As you can tell, we are working on some new sound effects here at the Fenway Faithful Studios. So bear with us as we work through the kinks, but I think that one's gonna sound great. So to kick it off, my Jordan Hicks Award of the week is going to be none other than Brian Bayo. You heard about him at the beginning of the episode as being someone that is completely inept at being a starting pitcher. As a starter, he has allowed more runs than he has innings. What's even more frustrating is the experiment with the opener has actually worked to get the best out of Bayo. And, I'm a fan of, however you're going to get the best out of a player, do whatever it takes. But that doesn't make you not a tool bag. Brian Bayo has had 4 full major league seasons under his belt. He's 27 years old. He's not a kid anymore. He's not a prospect. And we have to baby him through the first inning. Again, however you got to do it. But still, what a tool bag. Figure it out. You're a major league starting pitcher. Everything was fine last year. What happened? You woke up one day and you forgot how to pitch in the first inning. I mean, such a tool bag move. And really, it's kind of something that Jordan Hicks would do. A guy that, was a reliever, was a starter, and kind of sucked at everything. But anyways, Brian Bayo, congratulations.
Yeah, solid pick. I want to give it to Stevie G again because he keeps coughing when we're giving our takes. But my Jordan Hicks award for this week is whoever decides the MLB rivalry schedule. Because this past weekend it was MLB rivalry games. Why are we playing the Braves? What rivalry do we have with the Atlanta Braves? Why are we not playing the New York Yankees? That is the easiest thing ever to schedule. It is the biggest rivalry in baseball. Why aren't we playing them? Why aren't the Dodgers playing the Giants? That's another huge rivalry. Or the Cubs and the Cardinals. It's rivalry weekend, and some of the biggest rivalries in baseball aren't playing each other. Why the Braves?
That would make too much sense, Mike. That would make way too much sense.
I guess so.
So I guess that kind of goes to Rob Manfred. Is this Rob Manfred's second Jordan Hicks award?
Sure, I'll get any excuse to give it to Rob Manfred, so I'll give it to Rob Manfred.
Love it.
My Jordan Hicks award is very similar to Rob Manfred. It is Roger Goodell. And he deserves many awards far worse than Jordan Hicks award. Not for the obvious reasons, but this past week the 2026 to 27 NFL schedule was released. And of 5 Patriot primetime games, 4 of them are on the road. And that one home game is a Thursday night game in December. Not only that, the Bears game is a Thursday night game, a game that I wanted to go to, but I can't because it's on a Thursday night. What should have been a great schedule, not having Buffalo as a primetime game, but the bottom line, 5 primetime games, 4 of them on the road. That's not fair. One of them is Wednesday night with the banner ceremony for the Seahawks. I don't want to watch that. Makes absolutely no sense to me. There should be at least 3 home primetime Patriot games this season, and they had multiple opportunities to do so. So he is easily my Jordan Hicks award of the week.
That's a great one. It is a horrible schedule. I know we were talking about it at some point. That Broncos game at the end of the season hopefully gets flexed to primetime, and it'll be in New England. But yeah, I do like that pick.
On behalf of all 3 of us, we thank you for tuning in to yet another week of the Fenway Faithful podcast. Please join us again in 2 weeks for a brand new episode, and don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Have a great night, everyone.
Oh, yeah.